Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers, I am Time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. Purport. Diti and Aditi are two sisters. The sons of Aditi are called Adityas, and the sons of Diti are called Daityas. All the Adityas are devotees of the Lord, and all the Daityas are atheistic. Although Prahlad was born in the family of the Daityas, he was a great devotee from his childhood. Because of his devotional service and godly nature, he is considered to be a representative of Krishna. There are many subduing principles, but time wears down all things in the material universe and so represents Krishna. Of the many animals, the lion is the most powerful and ferocious, and of the million varieties of birds, Garuda, the bearer of Lord Vishnu, is the greatest. Prahladas chasmi daityanam kala kalayatamaham mrigendro cha mrigendroham vainateyas cha pakshinam. Among the Daitya demons I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers I am Time. Among beasts I am the lion. And among birds I am Garuda. In this purport, Srila Prabhupada appears to contradict himself. Did anyone notice that? You have to be listening very carefully. Prabhupada states that all the Daityas are atheistic. And then in the next line, he says that although Prahlad was born in the family of the Daityas, he was a great devotee from his childhood. So actually, in a sense, it is almost a contradiction. That's what Hiranyakashipu thought. He thought that Prahlad is a contradiction to everything I stand for. And he was. Krishna here in this 10th chapter of Gita is pointing out all the different ways by which he may be recognized in this world. Everything is Krishna. That Krishna has stated previously in the Bhagavad Gita. That Krishna is in everything. And everything is in Krishna. Mayata tamidam sarvam jagat. What is that? Mayata tamidam sarvam jagat. How does that verse go? Jagata vyaktin murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha. Krishna says, I am in everything and everything is in me, but still I am aloof from everything. So Krishna is everything, but at the beginning of this chapter, then Arjuna asks Krishna that, well, everything's you, but at the same time, we don't always recognize you and see you, so how are we to understand you? You say you're everything, but then how are we to understand? What particularly can remind us of you? And then Krishna speaks about so many things in this material, all the representatives of Krishna, called Vibhutis. This chapter is known as Vibhuti Yoga. The Vibhuti means some special display of opulence. So Krishna mentions so many things. Now, many of these things we may think that then, how Prahlad, how is that? I mean, we don't see Krishna on an ordinary basis. We don't see Prahlad either. And so many things. You don't see a lion generally unless you go to the zoo in Germany. And in India at that time you may not want to see a lion, because there were so many lions until recently, lions and tigers. Until recently India was mostly covered with jungle. And there were lots of lions and tigers, and even today it still happens that tigers, sometimes, they come into the villages and eat people. So you might not want to see a lion. You generally don't see them. Arjuna, of course, he's speaking to Arjuna, What is that? Mriganam cha mrigendroham. That Arjuna, he'd seen plenty of lions because he himself is a lion among men. Bharatarsha, this great personality of the Bharata dynasty. So one of Arjuna's duties, which he sometimes discharged with Krishna, is to go in the forest and find some lions and tigers and kill them, which doesn't sound very nice. And nowadays, I'm sure they'd make a big protest, the World Wildlife Fund or something like that. But in those days, there were so many lions and tigers in the jungles that the population, it wasn't a matter of trying to save the lion or save the whale or something like that, but it was save the human beings from them. Because, as Prabhupada explained, that actually the Vedic civilization, where was the highest manifestation of Vedic civilization? Was in the forests, actually. It was not in the towns or even in the villages, but in the forests where the rishis lived. So there were lots of lions and tigers, so Kshatriyas would go and reduce the population of the lions and tigers. And not only lions and tigers, so many rhinocerai, is that the plural of rhinoceros? And at the same time they would bring animals for sacrifice, which was also required. And also they would learn the art of killing, which is necessary for a Kshatriya, because their business is to protect the citizens. So if there's an invasion by some army and they say, well, just wait there while I practice fighting, it doesn't work like that. You have to be ready to fight and to kill, which isn't a very nice business, but anyway, someone had to do it. So, like that, the lion, you don't generally expect to see a lion, you don't generally expect to see Prahlad. This is one of the few places in Germany where you can have the darshan of Prahlad Maharaj. There may be others. I don't know. Are there any others? No. I thought there might be some devotees worshipping here and there. But then, also, you don't walk into their houses. So, you generally don't see Prahlad Maharaj. Even at the time of Arjuna, you wouldn't see Prahlad Maharaj walking around here and there. Kala, that is there. Here in this verse, Krishna mentions Prahlad, Kala, time, the lion, and Garuda. And although in Krishna Leela sometimes, now Krishna is on the battlefield, so Arjuna was seeing Garuda also. How was he seeing Garuda? Arjuna was on the battlefield with Krishna, so he was seeing Garuda also. How? Yes. Garuda is always on his chariot. And also he comes. So just like when Krishna went to attack that Vanasura, then he came on the back of Garuda. But generally you won't see Garuda. Garuda they call in India, any bird which looks a little nasty. They call Garuda, this kind of hawk. Vultures like this. So that's not actually Garuda. Real Garuda is Vainateya, which means, Vainateya means son of Vinata, who was his mother. So that's the real Garuda. So anyway, you don't see these things generally. So Kala is there all the time, but that we don't see. Kala is always present, but time is unseen. The unseen killer. I remember some years ago I saw one cover of Time magazine, which said salt, the unseen killer, because they have this theory, who knows whether it's true or not, but they say if you eat more salt, then you're more likely to get heart attacks. I think it's heart attacks, something like that. So unseen killer, I was thinking, no, it's not the unseen killer. The unseen killer is time. Time is killing everyone, but we don't see. And even though we see the manifestation of time's presence in everything, and especially in death. Time is particularly present in death, as death. That is the sure sign that the materialistic people's theory, Ishvaraham aham bhogi, I am the controller of this world, I am the exploiter of this world, I'm the owner of this world. So time, in the form of death, mrityu sarvaharascha, in the form of death, Krishna, who is time, manifests himself and just proves their theory. All the materialistic theories are wrong. Whatever theories people have, every theory they have every single one of them is wrong, and every day it is proved that that is incorrect by death. But people, what is their position? Apashyatam atmatattvam griheshu grihametinam. Because they're attached to this materialistic way of life, they cannot see. Pashyanapi na pashyati. They cannot see the fact that we are souls, seeing but not seeing. Everyone is dying, but they're thinking, that's them. As for me, well, I'm going on. And even people can see others are dying, and they think, for some time they think, that's going to be me too. But then they forget. Very soon they forget. They go to a funeral and they're crying because they're thinking, that's me too, tomorrow. But then they forget. I've seen, because I used to go to many funerals as a child. That was my means of income. So I used to, used to do the altar boy, it's called. So it was a good excuse to get out of school and get some money also. So you'd see they'd all come there and be crying and this and that. And then as soon as it's all over, they all get together and drink something and chat. And they're all, after they're drinking, they forget it and they're laughing and like this. So they're thinking that it's going to be me, but they forget very soon. Smashan Vairagya. This is called. You see that when they go for the burning the body, it's very clear to see. It's actually a much better system than putting in a box and burying. In every way, it's better. Putting in a box and burying, first thing, then that person becomes a ghost, generally, because they're attached to their body. And then it takes up so much space, and it's just ridiculous. Better burn the body, and then people come back again and again every year. They come back. They're supposed to come back. But the burning is very good, and then the sun will come and smash the skull. Good system. Breaks all attachments. At least it helps to do so. So seeing this, that the body is being burned at the smashan, at the burning gap, then people feel vairagya. What is the purpose of life? Everything is temporary. Everything is transitive. So they feel a great revelation within their hearts. And then they come away and they forget it all. So time is there. That we see, but we don't see. We cannot see unless we are trained to see. As Prabhupada was saying once, very nice exchange. Prabhupada was talking about the materialistic people, how they're blind, they're wasting their lives like this. And then one devotee said to Prabhupada that, well, how can these materialistic people understand this? They're blind. And then Prabhupada said, bring them to me. I will make them see. They have cataracts on their eyes. I will operate. So we cannot see. We see but we don't see. Because seeing means not seeing with the eyes. That is superficial seeing. But seeing means to understand. As in English, you say, I see, means I understand. So actual seeing means to, otherwise we're seeing, but the seeing of someone without transcendental knowledge is no more valuable than the seeing. A buffalo also sees. No, you don't have buffaloes. Pigs. Pigs they also see. But what does the pig see? Every living being sees according to their desire. It's like if we're walking tune into the local culture. I was going to say the pig's walking on the street and sees the stool, but they don't see stool in German streets. Because they're Germans. It's definitely not allowed in Germany. In the villages, there's cow dung, not human stool. The pigs aren't interested in cow dung. Pigs are not interested in cow dung. They don't need cow dung. They like human stool. Anyway, just imagine you're in India and then you're walking along and there's some stool on the side or in the drain. So you're seeing, I'm seeing, and the pig is seeing, but we see differently. And if you see or I see, we think that's horrible. I want to avoid that. Or maybe someone else is thinking, someone got here before me, because they're going to do the same thing. But the pig is saying, this is wonderful. Breakfast, fresh, hot, every morning. So we see the same thing, but how we see it differently. That Chanakya, he quotes one verse, that the same object is seen differently by an ordinary man by a renounced man, by a specific man, and by a dog. That means a beautiful woman. An ordinary man sees, something desirable. A specific man, her husband, thinks, that's my wife. A sadhu, just someone else, that's all. No special attachment or what's the opposite word to attachment, or not renunciation, aversion, no aversion either. And a dog thinks, what is the dog thinking? Nice piece of meat. The dog is licking you and you're thinking, how nice. Dog is thinking, tastes nice, I'd like to get some more of that. So how we see is, that depends not simply on the impression on the retina, nor even the processing within the brain, but it depends on how we see the world. There's a word in German for that. What's that called? Weltanschauung or something. Weltanschauung. That's used in English among so-called philosophers also. So, how we see the world, that depends what we see. We see everything, everyone sees the same thing, but we see differently according to our worldview. So here, Krishna is instructing Arjuna how to see him everywhere. But the question is, Prahlad you don't see everywhere. Time you don't see unless you're trained to see. Trained to see by hearing from Guru, Sadhu. What is the nature of this world? Everything here is temporary. Lions you don't generally see, and Garuda you don't generally see either. So what kind of example is this then? I thought about this. Why Krishna is giving so many examples of things that we don't generally see. And I came up with this, some inspiration came, that all these Prahlad, there are so many, Meru Shikarinamaham, the Meru mountain, all these things, they are as real in Vedic culture as you see the sun in the morning rising. And actually in Vedic culture, when you see the sun in the morning rising, it's not just the sun, it's not just some, in modern life we think it's just some kind of natural phenomenon. But in the Vedic culture, then immediately you offer respects, because here is Surya Dev. So you don't see it's just some kind of planet or some kind of cosmic ball that's rising there, but you immediately understand Surya Dev has again come. Surya Narayana. So he's the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even before, of course, you never see the sun rising. People don't see the sun rising in these countries because they're always sleeping. But in Vedic culture, one has to rise early. And then the first thing, before the light, then you see Aruna. The reddishness is coming. Aruna is actually, Garuda is mentioned here. What's the relation between Aruna and Garuda? Anyone remember? They're brothers, two brothers. So Aruna, he comes first, that reddish light, that is Aruna, and then afterwards comes Surya Dev. So all these points are understood in Vedic culture because one is hearing, even from childhood, one is hearing about who is Surya Dev, who is Aruna, who is Garuda, who is Prahlad. So we hear about all these things, and even how the lion, you definitely hear about that also. Even the lion has such a mystique that even in the Western countries, even though the lion is not an animal of the Western countries, maybe some time previously, but even the mystique of the lion is fully, the word lion is fully known in the Western world and symbolizes something very great and powerful and noble. If we say a lion, he's like a lion, that's a great compliment, especially for a fighting man. So it suggests someone who's not only fighting but very noble, like this. So even though lion is hardly seen in the Western world, but the lion has such a prestige or mystique about him that is famous in the Western world also. So all these, the lion is very famous. Even most people may not see lions. I doubt it, but even in traditional Vedic times, if most people you wouldn't see lions much. And even if you did see a lion, mostly you wouldn't be seeing much more in that body, because you'd become lion food. Lion food is not like dog food they buy in a packet. It's whatever the lion catches. So mostly people wouldn't see, but you'd know about and respect, great respect for the lion. So all these in Vedic culture, because from the beginning of life people are brought up to understand what is our position. We're here, we're in this particular time, and then people would know all the families of their forefathers and which rishi they're descended from and what are the different activities of those rishis, and that we're in this body temporarily. So people would know everything about all these leelas, Prahlad, Narasimha. They would know about Garuda, so many stories, the birth of Garuda and how the birth and activities of Garuda and what is Meru. People were knowledgeable. They were knowledgeable about all these actual facts of the cosmos. And in everyday talk, people would discuss in terms of these. Just like now we see the universe in terms, because of our pseudo-scientific upbringing, we see the world just in terms of plain matter. But because people were brought up in such a culture that from the beginning of life they understood what's going on in the universe, who are the great personalities of the universe, in history, and history means not going back to 2,000 years or 3,000 years, but a cosmic history of tremendous spans of time, and even before the creation, in previous creations, who are these great personalities. So, for Krishna to speak about Prahlad, it's as real to Arjuna discussing about Prahlad as it is talking about that tree over there, because it's absolutely part of people's Weltanschauung, something like that. Completely part of people's outlook and understanding, because people, it's not a question for them. Is Prahlad real or not real? Or is is the sun, is Surya Dev really? There's no question of is Surya Dev really there, but when you see the sun, this is Surya. And when you say the sun, it does. When we think of the sun, we think of some big ball of some mass of whatever the scientist, whatever we think, and we think, oh yeah, and okay, and there's Surya Dev also. We heard that in Bhagavad Gita class. But for people brought up in the Western culture, when they see the sun, that means Surya Dev, and that this is his planet, and he's come to make the day. That is one of the names of Surya Dev, Dinaka. He made the one who makes the day. By him the day is manifest. So it's absolutely, by that culture, is absolutely part of their consciousness. So when Krishna is giving these examples, he's talking about Prahlad. Among the Daityas, I am represented by Prahlad. So that's an absolutely real example. It's not that something that Arjuna has to think and categorize it. And, Prahlad, okay, this, that. But Prahlad, he may be discussed in everyday talk just as much as anyone or anything. This was everyday talk. Everyday talk means that among the elevated section of society, especially among Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, they had especially Brahmanas, but also Kshatriyas, because they had to rule on dharmic principle. Dharma is so much important for the Kshatriyas. So they also had Vedic education in basic spiritual knowledge, and everyone Puranic knowledge. So everyone, all the category, all the four statuses of the four groups of society, they had everyone received Vedic knowledge, at least in the form of Puranas and Mahabharata, in which all knowledge is given, actually. And the more, especially the Brahmanas, they would get the more esoteric presentation of the knowledge, of Vedic knowledge, and especially in the form of the Upanishads, of which this Gita is the best of all Upanishads. Gita Upanishad. So for the people in Vedic culture, there's this kind of discussion. Does God exist or not? Of course, there were atheists also. We see there were atheists, but they were not at all appreciated. There was one Brahmana at the time when Bharat came and met Ram in Chitrakoot, and Bharat wanted to bring Rama back to Ayodhya before he started his exile. They were trying to stop it before it started. So they were saying so many different things that, anyway, you did your duty, you came to the forest, now you can come back. And Bharat said, I'll come and you go back, I'll come and live in the forest. And the citizens of Ayodhya were saying, well, if you're not coming, we're all going to stay here too. And so many things, and Ram said, no, we'll just all go back and I'll stay here. And they couldn't do anything. And then one Brahmana, he started saying that well, what does it matter? It doesn't matter if you tell her, you say you have to uphold your promise to your father, but what does it matter? He's dead and you're going to be dead also, so it doesn't matter if you tell lies, because there's no future life and everything's finished, so just do whatever you want to enjoy yourself while life is going on now. It's not a new philosophy, the hippies didn't make it up. It's been going on since time immemorial. Immediately he became very upset. What are you talking? This atheistic talk. It's not befitting of you to speak this atheism. We don't want to hear this. That there's no future life, there's no responsibility. He said, I was just trying, somehow or other to convince you to come back. I was just getting desperate, that's all. I don't believe this rubbish either. But I was just trying to say something. I'm not really an atheist, but our theistic arguments didn't work, so I tried an atheistic. Sorry. We were getting desperate. So there may be atheists in Vedic culture also, but they're not appreciated by the general class of people who see, by always hearing from childhood, always hearing about Srimha, Prahlada, and in future generations after Arjuna, they'll be hearing about Yudhishthira, Bhimsen, Arjuna, Nakul, Sahadev, and how they, by their faith in Krishna, how Krishna delivered them, what were Krishna's wonderful activities. So, in this way, their consciousness was fully absorbed in hearing about these great personalities, and they saw reality as it is. Now, we're coming from a different background. We're coming from a background of this atheistic culture. So, we're trying to take up devotional service, and we're trying to... It's very difficult when we're brought up with this atheistic culture, and then we're trying to bring Krishna consciousness into our way of thinking. And then immediately Arjuna, oh yes, that's a wonderful example Krishna's giving. Because the existence of the Daityas, Danavas, so many different categories of people are there within the universe. Of course, Arjuna himself, he also had some experience of that. It's because for Arjuna, it's not just a theory. He'd already been to the heavenly planets, and he'd been given weapons he'd met so many great devas. Indra, his very father, and Lord Shiva, he met Lord Shiva. All the different demigods gave him weapons, and he'd even met some great horde of demons, the Nivartakavachas, who he killed them all. So he was acquainted with the cosmos, according to the Vedic description. He'd seen different parts of the universe. So he'd had some experience also. It may be more difficult for us in the present age. It definitely is more difficult for us in the present age, because we're brought up in a different way, in which our worldview is basically atheistic. We're all in the Bhagavad Gita, just like Prahlad is in the Bhagavad Gita. We're all in the Bhagavad Gita also. Either that Krishna begins the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and speaking about the godly qualities. And he tells Arjuna that you don't worry. You're brought up. You're born with the godly qualities. But then he goes on to describe what are the demoniac qualities: dambho, darpa, krodha, parusha, agyana, chabhijatasya, partha, samvadam, asura. And he tells Arjuna, what is that? Mashucha samvadam daivam abhijatosi pandava. You don't worry, Arjuna. You're born with the godly qualities. So everyone is born with either godly qualities or demoniac qualities. So we're all in the Bhagavad Gita. We're all part of the caste. We're all, unfortunately for us, most of us are born with the demoniac qualities. Dambho, pride, conceit, arrogance, harshness, anger, ignorance. We're all being born. That's Prahlad himself, out of his humility, was saying, I was born in the family of demons. Therefore, naturally, I'm always overcome by these bad qualities. I was born in the family of demons, but with a nature of that of a devotee. Generally, we don't find, you'll see the demons, they'll worship Brahma or Shiva. You won't find, they don't go to Vishnu. Because the demigods, they'll accept some worship, and then practically the demigods, they're practically forced to, because that's their role in the cosmos, to give some benediction to whoever worships them. They almost fit the common amongst us theory, that God is obliged to give you as you deserve. But Vishnu, he doesn't fit that. Because if you approach Vishnu, what happens is you become purified if you worship Kama Sarva Kama Moksha Kama Tirena Bhakti Yajeta Purusham Param. One is recommended not to worship demigods, whatever situation, whether you're full of desires, no desires, or desiring liberation, to worship Lord Vishnu. But the demons don't do that. Because they know two things. One thing is, if you worship Lord Vishnu, one thing is you become purified. And they don't want to become purified. And then another thing is that Lord Vishnu, you can never trust him. Because you may worship him for one thing and he'll give you something else. Because he always gives you what he doesn't give you what you want, but he may give you what you want, but he gives you what you need. And even if he gives you what you want, he may give it in such a way that you don't want it. That means along with bhakti for him. So the demons, they don't want this. So the demons, they don't worship Lord Vishnu. Ravana, he didn't go to worship Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu didn't go to worship Lord Vishnu. So, Daitya, that word is generally translated as demon, because as a generic category, the Daityas, they're all demons. One, P.N. Oak, he did this kind of speculative study on how the world was all previously Vedic. So his idea was that Deutsch means this is an upper branch, transformation of Daitya. It may be. I don't know why only the Germans. I don't see everyone else in German in Europe is very godly. Rome comes from Ram. Well, it could come from Romapad also. Romapad is also a name. It's Prabhupada, he said it was all speculation. He didn't give much credence to P.N. Oak in particular. But anyway, the Daitya, that is generally understood to be demon, because they generally are demonic, and there aren't many exceptions, although here's an exception. That's why Prabhupada writes, all the Daityas are atheistic by nature. There is something in birth. We say that one is not a Brahmin by birth, but actually, if the culture is maintained, and not only the culture but the breeding, it's just like they breed dogs and horses, isn't it? If you get good horse of a particular breed and you breed them, then you get some kind of horses are race horses, and you have to breed a racehorse with a racehorse. If you breed a racehorse with a pack horse, that means the kind that they're big, strong ones that they pull weights. There are different kinds of horses that some of them they pull. When I was a kid, there used to be the baker used to come around bringing the fresh bread with his horse, because you have to go a short distance, then you stop, and you go a short distance, stop. Certain kind of horse. A racehorse is not good for that. You have to have a certain kind of horse who's mental. Among cows also they breed different kinds. Jersey and Hereford and Aberdeen, these are all British breeds. Friesian is German, and that's good for giving milk. So there are different breeds. The Jersey gives lots of, it doesn't give lots of milk, but very rich milk. And then the Friesian gives lots of milk. And then the Angus and Aberdeen, they're meant for something which shouldn't discuss here. So they breed, they have different qualities. So also, that breeding was there. They were very particular about that in Vedic culture. Good Brahman, how Brahmana should marry Brahmana girl, and then you get good children. Not only that, there are so many things we follow. But the breeding is very important. That's also there. So generally, the demons, the Daityas, they would be demons. But Prahlad, he was different. He was a great devotee. So he was worshipping Lord Vishnu, which proves that he's not actually a demon at all. You can worship Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma and still be a demon. Or Rakshasa. Rakshasa is actually a different race. Ravana was a Rakshasa, even though he was born of a Brahmana. So Brahmana can change. But it's not only by birth. But Prahlad, he's not a demon. not in any, superficially, he's a demon. We find also that the Vritrasura was superficially a demon, but by his mentality he was a great devotee. So, by remembering Prahlad, one becomes purified. There are so many demons, they're famous demons, actually. So many names are given in Bhagavatam of famous demons like Namuchi and Hayagriva. They're not the supreme, there's not also a demon called Hayagriva. So there's so many. The Maya Danava, he's a Danava, they're another race of demons. They're famous, but especially Prahlad, he should be remembered. If we remember Prahlad, then automatically we remember Nrsimhadev, the form of the Lord, who appeared specifically for the sake of Prahlad. There are many devotees who appear in this world specifically for the sake of serving the Lord. But Prahlad, the Lord appeared specifically for the sake of serving Prahlad. So, such a great devotee. So all these examples are being given just so that we can remember Krishna. We can always remember Krishna in our discussions. You see everything. Yomam pashati sarvatra sarvam chame pashati. Tasyaham na pranashami satyame na pranashami. Krishna says, who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. I've never lost to him and he has never lost to me. So Krishna is giving so many examples in this chapter how we can always remember Krishna. In the previous verse, Anantas chasmina adhanam. You see a snake. Now that's, you may not see so much here, but of course in India it's quite common to see snakes. In the villages, now it's all urbanized. In the towns you don't see much, but in the villages, so many snakes. And you remember, actually when you see, you can remember Ananta or you can remember Garuda. People call out, Garuda, Garuda, and then the snake won't do any harm. When he hears that name, he'll go away. So, of course, many times the snake sees you before you see it, and then it's dangerous. If it's a cobra, and they see you, and then you're already dead before you see the snake. When they bite, then it's dangerous. You can tread on them, then you're finished. Or the even worse than cobras, that laxan, what's that called? Crate, it's called, small black one. It's very dangerous. With a cobra, if you're bitten, there might be some chance. With a crate, no chance. Finished immediately. You saw that one? You don't see them. Cobras you see very commonly. With a crate, you don't see often. I only ever saw it once. Fortunately, I was on a motorcycle at the time. So if I'd have been walking, then it would have been very dangerous. So the snake, when you see, then remember Garuda or Ananta. In this way, always remember Krishna. This Krishna is giving so many examples. So, Hare Krishna. Any question about this? I thought I'd speak on this verse. As Krishna has specifically mentioned Prahlad, he's in Bhagavad Gita. He's here also. Krishna also enjoys to hear about. That's mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion that Yashoda was telling Krishna bedtime stories. So she was telling him about Nrsimhadev, about Prahlad. Hearing this, Krishna's eyes opened very wide. As he remembered, he became in that mood. But he didn't want to show that mood in front of Mother Yashoda. It would have spoiled her motherly devotion to him. So anything?
Prahlad Maharaj then ruled over the kingdom of demons. So it is again like contradictory.
No, he had his social duty, just like Bali Maharaj. He was doing his duty as a demon king. he was born in that, and he did his job, and he even did very well than most other demons. He did what the demons are always wanting to do, which is to conquer over Indrapuri. He did that. Here's another example. He's born in the family of demons, but by association with Prahlad Maharaj, he became on the same platform as Prahlad Maharaj, as one of the 12 Mahajans. So he's doing his social duty, just like Vritrasura. His duty was to fight with Indra, which that Krishna says, no, not Krishna says, but that's stated in that Ete Chang Sakala Pungsa, Krishna's to Bhagavan Swami. Indrari Vyakalam Lokam Hridayanti. Okay, Krishna says, not Krishna says. All these different incarnations that are listed, Krishna is the source of them all, and they come in this world when Indra, the demons come, and their basic job as demons is to give disturbance to Indra. So Krishna comes in his different forms to relieve the disturbances caused by the demons who are giving disturbances to Indra. So Vritrasura was born specifically for giving disturbance to Indra. He was supposed to be the enemy of Indra, but actually he became the one who Indra is an enemy of. So he had to do something to become the enemy of Indra. So he acted as a demon, but he was doing that's his social duty. He did it. But his internal attitude was one of devotion. So it may be like that according to social dharma, one may do things, even if you don't want to do. Even you see Pingala, the prostitute. She was a prostitute. She was also a devotee. It just happened that she happened to be in that position. So it's like that. Bhishma, Drona, they were fighting on the side of the Kauravas. They didn't like Duryodhana. They thought he was the biggest anomaly in the history of the human race. But because they were in that position, they had accepted, it'd been maintained by him for so many years. So they thought, what can we do now? We have to fight. It would be, after being maintained by him for so many years, then to go against him, that would not be proper. We should show gratefulness to him. Gratefulness is that's very strongly emphasized. That there's a story in the Mahabharata. There was one person, he got a benediction from a crane, and then he got so much wealth, and then he killed the crane for no good reason. And then the crane, who was the friend of the Rakshasas, when the Rakshasas found out, they killed him, but they didn't eat him. And even the vultures and no one would eat his dead body, because that man who had killed the person who had helped him, then even the vultures and the jackals wouldn't eat his body. They thought, this is too low for us. We can't eat someone who's ungrateful. It's considered the lowest thing. That also Lakshman, when he was saying to Sugriva, the lowest things, because Sugriva was supposed to help Ram to find Sita, and instead he was just having a party. And it was during the rainy season, so they couldn't do anything. But then the rainy season was over, and he was still going on with his party, and Lakshman was ready to kill Sugriva. What are you doing? It's ungratefulness. Ram helped you, now you have to help Ram. So there's so many examples, and it's stated in Shastra that there is expiation, atonement for all different kinds of sins, but they're not for ungratefulness. So Bhishma and Drona, they felt obliged that we have to fight for this. We know this rascal, he's a rascal. Duryodhana, he's a rascal. But we feel social obligation is there. So Prahlad, he had his social obligation, and Nrsimhadev himself made him the king of the demons. Keep them in line a bit. These people are crazy. So it's better you be the king than someone else. Maybe he kept them in line somewhat. That's all I can offer as a suggestion. Anything else? So we're finished. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.